Oh,
We're just
So-
chit-chatting.
Yeah, and then D is from computer technology. They already have some courses, like basic courses about database and some like introduction to programming. And then he has built some courses like using Python. So then that's why I think, oh, why not we work together? And then
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
So Dee, I'm curious, which zyBooks offering are you familiar with that you've used?
last semester I used Java
Okay.
programming.
Okay, good. Okay. I guess it's time. So
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna wait for Tamara. I'm not sure she's gonna show up. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my screen share.
Okay. You
And
have
this is very informal. So if you have any questions, just kind of interrupt me. Just let me know if you have any questions.
okay.
And I believe the book in question is this Data Science Foundations with Python. And it's one that has Zylabs.
Yeah, and I
go
do have a question. So I'm trying to see. It seems like there's features I can combine two books.
Yes.
Like when I create a new course, right? So
Right.
yeah, and I think
So when you're evaluating books and you have to work with Tamara on that because I'm just here to demo.
oh, okay.
But once you've decided which books you want to combine together to create your own text, you just let her know, and then she can tell you also what the pricing is after the merge, because it's going to be different if you only have one book versus two books that you merge.
Oh, okay.
But she can tell you what the price is going to be.
The pricing is the price for students, right? It's kind of like a text
For students, yeah. It's free for faculty.
Okay.
And then if you have TAs or if you're team teaching, everyone that's in the teaching side gets access for free. Only the students pay for the resource.
Okay. Mhm.
So what I have here is an evaluation copy. So I don't know, Ping, do you have access to an evaluation copy? Did Tamara give you access to a evaluation copy?
I don't know if I have one. I never tried the evaluation copy.
So one way to figure that out is you'll see here the URL is just learn.zybooks.com. So if you go to learn.zybooks.com, I mean, they may have given you username and password so that you can enter. So the students will do the same. What we see here is going to be exactly what the students see. I'll just let you know which things are only instructors see, but almost everything is the same as what the students see. So usually after you've adopted a zyBook, the zyBook you're using in a particular semester will appear under the active class zyBooks. And then any evaluation zyBooks will appear under evaluation. So mine is an evaluation copy.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I think, yeah. I can do the evaluation copy and without what's her name?
Tamara Crawford.
Oh, okay.
That's the sales rep, I believe, for Great Basin College.
Then for the evaluation copy, so we can just it seems like I'm able to create an evaluation copy. So then we can do an evaluation copy just for the reference, right?
Right. You can look at it, and if it expires, you can just let Tamara know that you need an extension, and she'll extend it for you.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
So when you enter a zyBook, this is pretty much exactly how the students will see it. So the table of contents appear here on the left. So these are the chapters. And then to enter a chapter, you just click on the chapter and it shows you the sections within the chapter. So the chapters have one number, the sections have two numbers. And then when you enter the section, the subsections have three numbers. So that's kind of the hierarchy that they have.
Okay.
Here on the right, you will see that there's a menu. The students will also have a welcome tab. Once you adopted zyBook, this first entry in the welcome page will be different. It will actually have the information about how to subscribe. So for you, there will be information here that you may want to use to add to your syllabus so students will know how to subscribe to the zyBook. So I think that's the main change that will happen here on the upper right. You, as the professor, will have the My Class tab. I cannot click on Manage because this is an evaluation copy, but once you've adopted a zyBook, you can click on the Manage button, and that's where you can put if you have any teaching assistants or if multiple teachers are teaching the same class. If you're co-teaching, you can put that here. You can divide your class by sections. You can limit subscriptions by your campus's email domain. And then I think the last one, if you want to gather the student ID in case you want to do LMS integration, what learning management system do you use at Great Basin?
Canvas.
Oh, good. We're Canvas too. So if you want to have if you're wanting the points earned by your students to automatically get transferred to Canvas, so it gets placed in your grade book, then you might want to click that you're going to be gathering the student ID numbers. Usually the email address is sufficient for the handshake with Canvas.
Okay.
I'm going to go over the other tabs later. We'll just stick with the main ones first. One of the things I highly recommend is to click on the About This material because it shows you information about the text. If you pull this drop down, it also has information for the Xylabs, which is the coding part. So this is fairly new. It was released in September 2023.
Okay.
And then I usually search for the word bank because I want to know if there's a test bank, and there is.
Okay.
Sometimes the textbook will actually tell you how many questions are in the test bank. So this is nice because you can use it to generate online quizzes in Canvas just to keep them, reviewing the material. The other part I usually recommend looking is this View Content Explorer. And I'll explain the different components here. This orange, blue, and green are the different interactive components in the book. And again, I'll demo that shortly. But just to show you how rich the content is. So for all the participation activities, these are meant to engage students to read further. There are this many animations, question sets, learning tools, so very rich. The challenge activities are more like homework. They're a little bit more involved than the participation activities. There's 88 of them, but a total of 253 steps. And then the coding portion, there's 20 sample Xylabs. So a very nice collection of interactive content. So I'm going to enter one of these chapters. So when you enter a chapter, your view is the same as the students except for the blue links here in the bottom of each chapter. The students will only see print chapter. You can see 2 additional ones.
Okay.
I always remind students about the print chapter because that's how they can download the PDF of the whole chapter. Because the problem ping is 2 weeks after your semester ends, their online subscription expires.
Okay.
So everything that's online, they will no longer have access.
Okay.
However, if they want to keep a copy of the content because they paid for it, they can download the chapter after you're done covering the chapter. I usually remind them like around midterm and then again at finals that, if you want to keep a copy, make sure you download.
Okay.
I'm going to cover these next 2 links when we get there because you can actually add your own, in this case, Python exercises if you wanted to. Maybe exercises you've used before, and then you can add supplementary content to the chapter if you want to.
Yeah.
Because anytime you adopt a zyBook, it is your book, so you can do all sorts of things with it. Let's go into one of these sections. So this is what the student experience is going to look like. They will not have the present option. As the instructor, you have the present and the note option. The present option allows you to render the section like slides. So if you wanted to treat them like slides, you can. I find this useful because sometimes some of the participation activities like this one, it has some really nice animation. So you might want to use it like while you're lecturing to illustrate the concept. So I'm going to take this opportunity to explain what a participation activity is. So as a student is reading, they'll have some static content. And then the participation activity is meant to engage them. So this is just an animation. They just look at the steps to figure out what this concept is. And after they've completed this chevron, this will turn to a solid orange. That means they've completed the task. And then when they completed the task, this looks like there's more animation. So again, they go through that. More animation, and it looks like for that section, it's all animation. There's no static content, which is nice.
Okay.
When they're done with that, let's take a look at the more typical. Oh, I know why it looks like that. That's my bad. I was in presentation mode. So the student doesn't have the presentation mode. So this is what it would look like to them. They have to read the content, and then they do the participation activity. It's still one after there. So there's some static content, and then they read. This is another form of participation activity. So they have to, based on what they've read so far, they can answer the questions. This is a learning tool, not an assessment tool. So the students have an unlimited number of attempts. So I could pick 1950s. It'll not just say they're wrong. It'll actually explain why they're wrong. So they can try again. And theoretically, they can just try everything until they get it right.
Okay.
But the intention is they're actually reading, hopefully, the feedback from the system.
Yeah.
And then when they get the correct answer, they'll confirm. And notice that the chevron gets activated only after they get the right answer. So they have to complete all three for this big one to get activated. So it's very interactive. And then more static content, some animation, and then more questions. So the participation activities, the reason why they're called participation activities, it's really encouraging them to read. And then later on, if you want them to earn points from reading, I'll show you how to do that. Because whenever I use a zyBook, that's what I do. I give kids credit for completing all the participation activities, because then we're gamifying the reading experience. They really want to earn the points. And so I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Towards the end of, and this one doesn't have it because it's an earlier topic. So I'm going to go back out to the book. I'm going to pick maybe a later section. Maybe data science lifecycle. And I'm going to go to the end because the challenge activities, which is another type of activity, is typically towards the end. So you'll see they're very nice participation activities, very interactive, very engaging, and it's multiple forms so the students don't get bored with always having multiple choice questions. So all the orange things are participation activities meant for them to read. This one, they click and drag the answers. So it's a little different. And then typically towards the end of a subsection or a section, they'll be subjected to a challenge activity. And a challenge activity, these are the blue ones, they're a little bit more involved than the participation activity because it's meant to kind of put together everything they've learned in the section and test their understanding.
Okay.
So this one is, it's got to start, and it looks like they have to answer the question, and then they pick a task. I'm just randomly, I'm not even reading the instructions. And then if they have the wrong answer, it explains, and then they can try again.
Okay.
What's nice also about the challenge activity is, actually, if we were to refresh this, the problem is slightly modified. So there's slight variations
Okay.
on a challenge activity. So even after they complete this, and maybe 2 weeks from now, Ping, you're giving an exam, if they want to review the material by doing the challenge activity again, it'll be the same concepts tested, but the problem is slightly changed,
Okay. Good.
which is very nice.
Yeah.
So those are the participation and challenge activities. Let's go to the third type of interactive component, which is the coding, the zyLabs.
The lab. Okay.
Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. So the zyLabs that are created by zyBooks has this green tab on the upper left. So you'll know that it's a zyBooks maintained zyLab. By default, most, if not all of them, are hidden, meaning the students don't even see it. So you have to click visible for the students to see it, because once the students can see it, they can actually start working on the problem. So zyBooks has decided to keep them hidden first, so you can decide when to make them visible to the students.
Okay.
Even though there's an edit lab link here, you cannot edit a zyBooks maintained zylab until you clone it. So you have to clone it first, and it'll give you the error message that you have to clone it first. So you'll make a copy, and then you can edit the copy. So that way, the state of the zyBooks maintained zylab stays the same. It doesn't change.
Okay.
So if you see a problem and then you want to use it, but you want to make a slight modification to it, you can clone it first, and then you can edit.
Okay.
So all the zylabs, again, it's warning students first that it's hidden, so you have to make it visible before they can see it. So they all start with a description. So it says, there's some inputs, blah, blah, blah. They have to do this, and then they're given an example, and then the output has to look like this. Once they go through that, then they are given this coding area. And let me see the top here for a second. Okay. So this coding area is a little crude. It's kind of like Notepad, but it's sufficient. One of the features, it's nicely numbered, which is nice. There's some syntax highlighting, so that's nice. Students can go to the lower right corner and increase the size of the window because eventually your code gets long, so you want to see more. So there's certain things they can do. And then you'll notice that there's a develop mode versus submit mode. So the nice thing about this is most of the exercises, there's comments in the code so they can figure out what they need to do. So they play around with this code, they change it, they edit it, and then if they think they're ready to test it, by default, they're in develop mode. So to run the program, if there's any input, the input has to be provided in this box. And then to compile and execute the program, they click Run Program, and then the output is shown here. So there, it shows that, wait, you didn't provide any input, right? So it looks like, and so again, if we were students, it says, oh, this is the input, let's go ahead and copy that. I'm going to copy that input, and I'm going to paste it on the text box down here. And again, I'm going to hit Run Program to compile and test it with those inputs. And it looks like, okay, so because I didn't read the instructions, apparently I'm supposed to define something. So you see what the process looks like. So this is develop mode.
Okay.
Now, in submit mode, when the student clicks submit mode, the Run Program button changes to submit for grading. So for every Zylab, the student is shown how many points they can earn. So this is a 2-point problem, very simple problem. So if they want to earn the 2 points, they have to be in submit mode, and then they click submit for grading, and they will be shown that because we didn't do anything to the code, we earned 0 points, and then it shows this is their input. We did not produce any output, and our output was supposed to look like this. So they're given some information on what may have gone wrong.
Okay.
So that's for the first case for 1 point, then they earned 0 points. And this is for the second case. Apparently, this was the input. So they can actually use this to figure out what input test cases are.
Okay.
So when they test their code, they can try it on these input test cases to make sure that they're getting it. So they can go back to develop mode. Some students will leave it on submit mode so that because they have an unlimited number of submits. Now for the zyBooks that you create, which is what I did. So I've used zyBooks for C++. I haven't used it for Python, but I've used it for C++. So I've had some C++ programs that I've assigned before. You can limit the number of submits for the exercising, the program exercises that you created. But for the zyBooks maintained, it's always unlimited. So most students will just leave it on submit mode.
Okay.
And then as the instructor, you have a lot of information about how many students have submitted, how many have not. This is out of 2 points, so it looks like that's the average, so that's good. 0 versus non-zero submissions. So there's a lot of information at any point in time in the semester about whether students are submitting or not. As the instructor, you also have similarity detection. This is connected to MOS. This has dummy data, so I'm not sure how this is going to work. Yeah, so it doesn't have info because unfortunately it's fake data. But once you're live, it compares every student's submission pair at a time, and you'll see if students are working too closely together.
Okay.
You have access to the solution. So theoretically, I could have copied this and then pasted it as my answer here because I have access to the solution. And
Yeah.
if I submit the solution, I should get 2 points. But students, of course, don't have access to the solution. So I got
Okay.
that. Yay, we got 2 points. Because we have the solution. And then the test cases, as the professor, you can see what the test cases are. So when students come to you for office hours or questions about a particular xylab, and they say, "Oh, I'm failing the second test. As a second case, can you give me more information?" You can actually look at it to guide them.
Okay.
So very rich. Okay. So questions so far?
Good. No questions.
No question?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
how about you,
interactive.
D? You're doing okay, D?
No questions.
Okay. So I'm going to show you now how to gamify, because that's what I do when I teach using a zyBook. I gamify my course. Students want to earn points. So I'll show you the assignments feature.
Okay.
So under the assignments feature, it's very easy to create an assignment. I'm going to pretend I'm teaching this course. So usually what I do is I'll create an assignment called reading, and I'll make it reading for the first chapter. So I'm going to name it reading 1. So the 1 connects it to the chapter number. It's for the whole class. And let's say we're going to have it due on the 18th at 11:59 p.m. And since it's for 1 and it's for reading, I'm going to pick all the participation activities because that encourages them to read.
Okay.
I'm going to create another one. And maybe this time I'm going to call the assignment homework 1. And this one will be all the challenge activities. And I can also make that due on the 18th at 11:59 p.m. You can click save and hide if you're not sure yet about the. If you click save and hide, students won't see it. But if you click save, it's immediately available to students. The students will have an assignments tab, and they will see something like this. You are warned that this is what the students see, and then anything the students cannot see will be down here.
Okay.
These are always ordered by the due date, whichever is coming first. And then the students can see how many points they can earn. And then when you get there, if you wanted to do a lab or a programming assignment, maybe you want to assign this one, the list basics, also due on the 18th. So they'll know it's always due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So just like that, you can create assignments. If a student says, "Okay, I got sick, please give me an extension," you can do that. It'll warn you that students may have already started the assignment, but that's okay. You can add additional due dates by section or by student. There's this troublemaker named Sheldon Cooper who's always sick. So we'll give him 2 days extension. And just like that, that'll give that student an extension. The rest of the class doesn't even know it. So when you look at this, your view will say there's multiple due dates, but the whole class will only see the first due date, and then Sheldon will see their due date.
Okay.
The other thing is if you use the Canvas LTI integration, it's actually very easy to do. You create an assignment in Canvas, you indicate that it's an external tool, and then if you're using the same name for your assignments in Canvas as they're named in zyBooks, you just connect the two and it will create those links. That way, as students are earning points up to the deadline, any points the students earned will automatically get transferred to your gradebook, which is nice. So all of this is auto-graded. And then with the LTI integration, it's also automatically published to your gradebook as soon as students earn points. One of the problems I've encountered in the past is even after the due date, students can still, so when I click on this, it shows me what I need to do. And I think the students actually see how many points out of the total they've earned. So they can, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the zyBooks mentality is even after the due date, the students can continue working. So sometimes students will complain that the points in zyBooks don't match the points in Canvas because they actually kept working on it after the due date. I usually just trust them and update the points anyway, because after the due date, zyBooks will no longer push the points earned by students to your gradebook. And usually the students that complain, it's like only a couple of points and it's not a lot of students. So I'm not really too concerned about that.
Okay.
The test tab, this is how you can create your online quizzes in Canvas. So to create an online quiz, you click test. So let's say we're getting ready to give a test and we want it to cover chapter 1, chapter 2, and this is an evaluation copy, so it's saying no questions. But in the actual, after you adopt, there's actually a lot of questions in this book.
Okay.
It's just not showing it to us because this is an evaluation copy. We
Mhm.
have a few questions. So let's pretend we selected all the chapters, and you can go to the organized test here, or you can see the answers if you want to look at what the answers are.
Mhm.
You can go to organized test, and it also shows you in this form. You can delete questions. Like, I don't like that. You can delete it. You can rearrange the questions if you want. And then once you're happy with all the questions, you click view and export. Oh, we have to give it a name. Quiz 1. Okay. And then we say view and export. By default, you can export this as a Word doc. So if you wanted to add multiple choice questions in a pen and paper exam, you can. But if you drop this down, the better option is to do QTI Canvas. That way, it's automatically graded because Canvas will know what the right answers are. And then it'll also automatically populate your gradebook because it's a QTI file that you can upload.
Mhm.
So that's what I would use the tests option for. And when you're done with the test, all those quizzes, the quiz questions are preserved. So if you wanted to download them again, you can. So that's what the tests options for.
Then students come to zyBooks and then click a quiz and work on the quiz.
No. So after we've created our quiz, if you download the QTI for Canvas, what you need to do in Canvas is you create an online quiz, and then you let it know that you're uploading the questions. So after you download this will have a QTI extension. You just upload it into Canvas and it'll create the quiz for you with these questions.
Okay.
And Canvas will know what the right answers are. So it's automatically graded.
Oh, okay.
And then once you set the due date, the points are automatically added to your grade book. So that's what I use this feature for. I occasionally will use it to generate questions for a pen and paper exam, but then I have to grade that.
Okay.
So I don't like that. I like auto grade. I like auto populate my grade book to make my life easy.
So basically, the tests and the quiz and test, and then will be downloaded here and then upload back to
into Canvas. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually the students have to do it in Canvas, and then it's auto graded and auto recorded in your grade book on Canvas.
Okay.
So no testing on zyBooks.
Okay, I see.
Only the assignments that you create to earn points. And again, these are mostly learning opportunities. Because they have unlimited number of attempts. Right.
Okay.
So it's not really meant for assessment, so to speak.
Okay.
Another feature that I really like about zyBooks is this configure zyBook. Because this is your book. In fact, if you'll notice here, the URL has my name. If you adopt this book, because data science is the name of the textbook, your copy will probably have your last name, Wang, data science, maybe GBC, and then the semester. So once the URL is generated when you adopt, it's your book and you'll have your unique URL. So you can do a lot of things with it. One of the things I like doing is sometimes I'll rename the chapter.
Oh, okay.
And I'll indicate it week 1 because maybe I'm covering both chapter 1 and chapter 2 in week 1. So then it's clear to the students what's when we're going to be covering the chapters.
Okay.
You will notice that there are handles to grab. So I can reorder this.
Yeah.
So if I change the order, it automatically renumbers everything. You can do that for each section. You can do that for chapters. If you want to change the order of the chapters, you can. If you feel you're not going to cover ANNs and ensemble techniques, see, the students paid for the textbook, so I think there's an option here to move any selected section to unused if you're not going to cover them. So
Okay.
if you do that, it'll place it here and then the students cannot see it. And I
Okay.
don't like that because the students paid for the book. So
Mhm.
what I usually do is instead of doing that, I'll mark them as optional.
Yeah.
So then they have a flag.
Mhm.
So then students will know that those are optional. And you can do that for chapters. You can also do that for sections. So maybe if
Okay.
you're not going to cover random forests and this marijuana legalization, you can set that as optional.
Oh,
It's
okay.
clearly marked to them. They can still see it. They can download them even if it's optional. Remember earlier, the
Mhm.
print chapter? So
Mhm.
they can still download also the optional sections, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think those are the main features. I'm trying to think what, oh yeah, there's still one more I haven't covered. Um, you can add your own Zylab. You can create your own section. I'm going to start with the create your own section. So if you wanted to add supplementary content, you can. So I'm going to say this is Ben's supplement. This is your menu to add components to your section. So this has two numbers. So you're actually adding a section to the textbook. So you might want to add a text block. So maybe another one. You can add a table. I'm going to set it to be it's just as an example. If you minimize this menu, you'll see that the components we added, they're actually here so you can change the order. So you can click and drag the table and move it
Yeah.
after you've entered the content. You can add, let's see, you can add some multiple choice short answer. If you have a URL to a YouTube video, you just put the URL and it embeds it in the content. So it's
Okay.
very nice. You can add sample code if you want to share with them some sample code. If you're not done with the section, you can save it as a draft so students can't see it. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like. So you save it as a draft, and then you click done. There's two buttons that you have to click for some reason. This is section 212, so I'll show you what it looks like to the students. So 212, so by default, it's placed at the end. Anything that's marked draft, students cannot actually see. So this just warns you that that section is a draft. And then under configure zyBook, you can move this up if you want to, or move it to a different section. And then once you're ready for students to see it, you have to click publish.
Okay.
Once you do that, the students can see it and they can consume the content.
Okay.
It's not letting me click done somehow. I'm not sure why. I'm just going to click here and leave the page. Not sure why it's not working. I think it's my touchpad is. There we go. I don't know what was happening there. You can add your own Zylab. Okay, this is interesting. I'll show you just the classic view. Because all the built-in exercises use the classic view. And if we have time, I'll show you the advanced Zylab, because you might be interested in that. So whenever you create a lab of your own, you put the specs here. There are some markdown. If you're familiar with Jupyter notebooks, you can format this by, putting 2 asterisks before and 2 asterisks after is bold. So when you preview it, it'll show you, you bolded the word instructions. So all those markdowns are provided here as a resource. So you can, if you don't remember what they look like, you can even incorporate URL if you want. So if I put that here, this is how it's going to look like, and that URL will work.
Okay.
So you can format however you want to make it look like, so it's pretty or whatever. I don't know why this is C++. This is a Python. So always make sure that says Python. So this shows you all the other languages that the Zylabs can do. It should default to Python 3, so I don't know why it does that. By default, I have the students code in zyBook, although they can code elsewhere. So because this is our lab, this is where you can limit the number of submissions. I usually limit any exercises I create to 3, because sometimes, Ping, I don't know about you, but I used to give coding questions in an exam handwritten. But after zyBooks, I actually give my coding questions in zyBooks. So I have them do it in a lab. And now I can limit the number of submissions to 3 instead of an unlimited number of submissions. So they have to think about their solution before they submit it.
Okay.
And then you can enforce also a minimum number of minutes between each submission. So I usually make that 1 minute just so they can think about it first. By default, they cannot see the lab content until we're done. We're ready for them to see it. So right now it's hidden. You can also release the lab-wide windows, meaning you can set a date and time when it starts to be available to them. And then after a date and time, it's no longer available. So you can do that as well.
Okay.
If you're doing it for an exam, you can put a time limit. So if you want to have them work only 60 minutes or maybe only 30 minutes, that's your choice.
Okay.
And you can also password protect the lab, so only people who are present in the lab when you give the password can access the exercise. So this is where you provide what the students see. So the template part is what the students see, which you can have it blank or you can put comments that guide the student on what kind of code they're supposed to enter. And then you have to provide the solution. So you put your Python code here for the solution to the problem. And then if there's multiple files, you just say you add another file. So by default, there's at least 1 file called main, and it doesn't have to be called main. You can change the name. And you can allow students to download the template, which is this part. They cannot see the solution by default. So because you're providing the solution, when you go to the automated workbench, when we say, okay, I want 1 test that compares the output of their program. So you decide the number of points. You can test the input like earlier, right? There was I'll pretend the input is 3 numbers. Because you provided the code, when you click generate output from solution, it actually compiles your solution, feeds it this input, and then captures the output, places it here. So this is the output we expect the students to generate with the same input. And then once you're done with that, you can actually also set to ignore any white space, ignore any uppercase, lowercase. If you want to hide the input from students so they don't see it, by default, it's all visible to the students. You can even hide all the details of the test case from the students if you want to. So by default, everything is shown to the students. And when you're done with that test case, if we have the same test case but just different inputs, you can clone this. So this is the second test that we can just change the name later. And then this time, maybe the numbers, it's still 3 numbers, but it's different numbers. Maybe it's 4, 5, and 6. Right. So you set what the test cases are. You click this, it compiles your solution and it captures the output. So you can have as many of these compare output tests as you want. You can also add unit tests if you want, but that's really up to you how you want to evaluate their code. So once you set that up, it can now be automatically graded. So that way it's nice. I'm not going to save that because we're just playing. And then it becomes available for the students to play around with. So that's how you create your own.
Okay.
Are you interested in looking at the advanced zyLab? You have time? Yes, no?
Yes, let's just have a quick look about advanced.
Okay.
So it seems like it's advanced features is added lately, right?
Yeah, it was just added last fall.
Okay.
So if you click add a zyLab, there's an option to add an advanced zyLab. So when you click on that, it looks the same. It almost looks the same as what we saw earlier. The main difference is, so this one is, this Ben's second example, maybe. And I don't know why there's a section name and then there's also a title. I'm just going to give it some name. I don't know. I'm running out of ideas. It has you set the language again. I'm not sure why. So this is Python because we want it to be Python. And then we click create. And we have to wait for a little bit. Oh, click create. Come on. What's missing? So I said Python. Oh, there you go. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on.
Did you?
Yeah, maybe this book is not set up for advanced.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
The main difference for the advanced zyLab is, let me see if it will work this way. That's too bad because the advanced Zylab, you can actually run VS Code in the
Do you need to
browser.
choose a version or something?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
version 3.0.
Maybe. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So by default, the advanced Zylab takes you to coding rooms, which is a really cool IDE. But instead of that, you might be interested in using VS Code or maybe even a Jupyter notebook if you're doing
Okay.
Jupyter notebooks. So I'll just show you the VS Code version and then you click create. So the nice thing about this is it takes a little longer because it's setting up a virtual environment in the background, but students don't have to install anything on their computer. So that's what's nice. And they have access to full-blown installation of VS Code. So this is VS Code running in the browser. So they click on a file. So the interface is slightly different. It's a tabbed interface, line number. They compile here. So this is the develop mode. When they're compiling to test their solution, they click the compile. It has a full-blown debugger. So if they want to watch variables changing as their code is running, they can. So a lot of really nice, cool features. And then usually when this is done, if they're ready to submit, there's going to be because we're in the edit mode. Once we save and publish this, the student will see a submit button at the bottom to actually submit for grading. So it's a little bit more involved. And you may or may not want to introduce students to VS Code. The nice thing about the Classic is it's really sufficient for coding purposes. It's more like Notepad.
Okay.
But most of your students will probably hear that they can also do Python coding in VS Code or in a Jupyter notebook.
Yeah.
So that's an option for you to think about. I'm not going to save that when you put together your assignments. But all the coding exercises that are zyBooks maintained, like the ones I showed you earlier, these use the Classic. So this is what the students see.
Okay.
So other questions? Bing or D?
Yeah, I think I'm good. So then you already mentioned the sync is automatic between the zyBooks and the Canvas, right? So
yes, so all the scores that the students earned is automatically put. So those are automatically done for you.
And I want to introduce myself real quick.
Hey.
Sorry, I got caught
That's
in
all right.
another meeting. And
That's
so
all right.
I'm your account manager, Tamara Crawford. I'm the one who originally sent the email and things like that.
Okay.
And so I did give both of you evaluation access to this book so you can get in and look around. So you should see an email in your inbox when you get off here. If not, look in your junk mail. So that's probably where it is.
Okay.
And yeah, there is a process for setting up for it to link with Canvas, but that is something we can do, and we do for thousands of professors. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
And Tamara, Bing may be interested in having two zyBooks merged into one. So if she gets there and she has questions, I told her to just contact you.
Yeah, definitely. What we can do it one of two ways. You can, what's the other one that you're interested in integrating so I can make sure I give you access to that too?
So the one is a data science foundations and another one is a data science foundations with Python. So I'm just, can you just give me the evaluation? So I try to see what's the difference between these two.
Oh, between the two, I see.
Yeah. The data science foundations and this one is data science foundations with Python.
And I can also send a note to our content creators and ask them what is the difference.
Okay, yeah.
So you don't have to try to figure it out, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking so because we are going to later on we are going to have some like courses using Python. So then for this introduction level of data science class, I'm still kind of like thinking bring in the Python into this introductory class, or we just do the regular like introductory data science class without lab. So then that's something. And so like with Python, even without lab, and then this is focused on like maybe I'm not sure it's like a contents covered by cover Python or just a lab is using Python. So then that's why I'm trying to see the difference between these two. Just the lab part or is all other part are different as well. So yeah.
Okay. So I'll add that. And can you tell me the course name and number for this? Because I'm not sure. Like I couldn't figure out what course it was for.
Okay,
Is it a new course?
this will be the DATA 101, something like that.
And is it going to be a new course?
Yeah, it will be new course. So
Okay.
then so basically we work for the Nevada system of higher education. So then I noticed there is a DATA 101 in the whole Nevada state system, so used by other institutions. And so if our course is like matching with that existing course in the system, then we're going to use the same name, Data 101. And
Okay.
if our course is going to be like not matching with that introductory course and the data science introductory, then we may create a different name, still data, but maybe 102 or 103, that's going to be completely new for the system as well. But no matter which way, this is going to be the new course for our school. So this is
Okay.
completely new course for
And
our
is
school.
it for the summer or fall?
We are targeting for the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fall.
Yeah.
Okay. And when do y'all have to make decisions for that course, like final decisions for the book?
I think probably March,
Okay.
the May or maybe the end of March. So by March, we should be able to finalize the whole program. So we're targeting the program of 1 semester. So it's like a skills certificate program is a 5 course. And then we are also want to expand it to 1 year certificate of achievement. So that's going to be 2 semesters. So if that's the case, we will develop more courses and most likely using zyBooks as well. So then
Okay.
right now and the data 101 is one, and I'm also thinking another one which is by using the Microsoft BI Power. Yeah, that one. And as a part of my class, the second class I'm developing is a data visualization and the introductory level. But the Power BI is a part of the data visualization. I'm thinking to use the Tableau as well to like both Tableau and the Power BI to get my introductory level of data visualization class. So we are building 2 new courses basically for the first phase, the 1 semester the program. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to see if we had anything for that because I know we might have like
you already have a Power BI. That class is in the system zyBooks, but you don't have anything about the Tableau.
Tableau.
So Tableau might be
Yeah.
something I need integrate from other
Right.
resources. But this is so I'm targeting to do the data 101 first, then to feel about the zyBooks and then
And are you aware of the cost of the zyBook?
No, that's the next question I'm going to ask. So what's the regular price about if it's just one book?
So the regular cost is $64 for the book. If you want to add on the Zylabs, it's additional $25, so it'd be $89. And then if you want to add another book, it's only $10 more to either side.
When you merge two.
So if you're merging 2 books, I don't feel like those are separate books though.
Right.
Because
I'm not sure either.
They're like the same book. There's
just
extra
one has
stuff
the
on it.
Zylabs. Yeah,
So,
I think so.
I don't think that there would be an extra charge in that specific case. I can talk to my manager about it, but if so, it'd only be $10. So
you are seeing those 2 are the same book, just the difference is
the coding. I think that's the only difference.
The labs with Python,
Yeah.
the labs, and then without lab, the Python
Yeah,
lab.
because zyBooks also has this for algorithms where it's just algorithms, and then you can do algorithms with C++ or algorithms with Java or algorithms with Python. So I think
And I
it's
think
the
it's
same.
good to incorporate a language because
Yeah, I think so too.
it's more applicable and it's going to prepare them better for the next course, right? So seeing those examples kind of help them to, repetition is key in education.
Okay, so then you
no
said,
matter what you're teaching, right?
Okay, so you said 64, the textbook plus the lab 25?
What?
Yeah, so it's 89.
89 and possibly $10 more if combining with a
With a
different.
different book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see, it's about $100, and then if it's
Yeah.
combining that $10. So then, and the student pay within the zyBooks website, or how does that work?
So you have a couple of options. I mean, we can do, a lot of schools are going to inclusive access, so we can have it where that's a thing. I don't think your school is doing that at this point in time, but so they can purchase directly from us through our website. We also offer the ability to put it in the bookstore, and we can provide codes to the bookstore. We give a 10% discount to the bookstore so they can mark it up. 9 times out of 10, the bookstore is going to mark it up 20, 30%. So they're going to be paying more. But there's students that do have financial aid who do need to go through the bookstore. So in that case, yes, they can purchase through the bookstore, but we usually recommend they go through us, just because it's usually less expensive. And they just pay with a credit card.
First day of classes, I tell my students, unless you have financial aid, so financial aid students have to purchase from the bookstore. But if they don't have financial aid, it's cheaper to just get it directly from zyBooks. They can save some money.
Yeah, so the process for that is once you decide to adopt, you let me know. I create your course. I create an ISBN and a link to your course, like a specific code they use to log in.
Okay.
And then I can give you instructions to give to your students to pay and log in, and then we'll give you information to send to the bookstore for them to order the codes.
Okay. So then can you clarify you said if students buy it from bookstore, usually it costs more?
Well, we give a 10% discount to the bookstore, and the bookstore has the ability to mark the price of the book up for profit for them.
Okay,
and they do.
And they do. And they normally don't mark up, just a 10% leeway. Right. So we do give them a discount so that they have some leeway, but we can't control what the bookstore does.
Okay. And so if students buy it from zyBooks directly, so is there any discount to students, or it's just the 89 is going to be the price?
It's just the 89.
Okay, so there's no further discount from for the purchase of the book, right?
No. The only way there would be a discount if there's like over 500 students in the course, which is a lot. So
I don't think
how many students? It's probably going to be closer to 20 to 40, I can imagine.
Usually our class size is 30 students is a one section. And so even later on, we're having more courses. We're thinking you have more courses using zyBooks. Then there's no kind of like a contract or something with some discount for the course. Like, do you have such policy?
I mean, typically no, it's the 500 per course. It's only for like really large courses. It's just that we already reduce them as much as we can. Our creator is actually a professor as well, and he vowed not to get it above $100. We've had one price increase in the 16 years that we've been here. So we do want to keep it affordable for the students, but we do have programmers that we have to go in, and they maintain and update the material and add more content. And we listen to your feedback. So if you have feedback for us, or you feel like there's something lacking, please let us know. Because we're always working to better the platform. And you can even, under the question, there's a part that says feedback. You can click on that and we'll immediately fix it that day if you see
Okay.
any
Yeah.
issues.
And based on my experience using zyBooks, I've had zero complaints really from students they love it. They love the interactivity. They love being able to read, interact, and code in the
Ye-
same
Yeah.
environment. It's all done
Yeah.
in the browser.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so can you show Ping real quick where she presses the button to adopt when she
Sure.
decides,
Let me
just so
see
she's
here.
aware like how to move forward once she makes a
Right.
decision.
So under the welcome, there's this adopt this zyBook. So you just click that, and then you enter information in the form that
Okay.
you see. And that's what's going to be used to generate the URL, the textbook name
Okay.
for you.
Yeah. So then, and basically, I start from the evaluation, the evaluation course, and
Copy.
then
Yeah.
after I once I decide to adopt this class, then
Click
I just
here.
click here. Okay. Okay.
Right.
And
And
Yeah, or
remember
there's also
that.
up at the top if you can X out that bank thing. I don't know.
Oh, this one. I've
Yeah,
got
there's
other
one.
things blocking. Hold on. Let me move the zoom controls that are blocking my view. Okay.
I hate
Oh,
that.
hold on. Yeah, I know. It's like, what are
I
you
know the
pointing
feeling.
at? Which one?
That at the top next to what's new, adopt a zyBook, community.
Oh yeah, there's another one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, I think I already did adopt a book. I think that's why tomorrow you contact me and then said we have to
Oh
meet.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
but that one I'm not officially adopted because I want take a look into the contents. So
Yeah.
then
Okay.
I think I have to adopt before I can take and look into the contents. So that's why I adopt the book. So, but that one is not like the one I really want to keep. And so
I'll go ahead and delete it then.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that's why I contacted you. I'm like, she's never even seen a demo, so let's make sure.
Yeah, let's delete that adopted book. And then since I already have evaluation book, so then I'm going to start view the evaluation book and then organize the contents, try to play with it. Then, and then once it's ready, then I can just click adopt. Once I
Yeah.
click adopt, then Tamara, you will approve it. Okay. And then once it's approved, it's an official book, official course, right?
Right,
Yep.
right.
Okay. Yeah. But
And once students subscribe, they can see the book.
okay.
So if you change things around, they will see that live
Oh, okay.
because it's
And,
available to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, I
that's
cancel the request, so you're good.
yeah, and it's so good to know, and then we can also have the bookstore work with you guys, and then to list this as the book in bookstore because I do think we have students using financial aid. And
Yeah.
so then there are many students, and we're a small college, and many students from our college they're relying on the financial aid. So
I relied on financial aid, and
Yeah.
it was a blessing. So
yeah,
Yeah.
and we are working on some grant to see if we may have some grant money to cover students the course taking
So
this program.
in
So
that case, if you decide to go that route, you just let me know and I can hit the inclusive access button. We can let the students enroll for free, and then we can bill the college at the end of the registration, say about 4 weeks into the
okay.
course.
Okay.
So that would be a different way to use it. So if you decide on that, please let me know because it is something I have to click a button on my end to activate, and we'll need billing information from your department.
Okay, that's good to know. So that way it's easier because we don't need to reimburse every student and for the purchase of the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if we're that further yet. We're just working all this together. This is a new program, and then we're using this new program to apply for the grant. We don't know if we're getting a grant or not for sure. So, and the whole thing is no matter we're going to have a grant or not, this is a program we're developing. We're going to open this new program to students. Yeah, that's good.
Great.
Good.
Okay, yeah, and
All
very
right.
good. Thank you so much. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
And I did want to let you know also, when we're done with this, you decide to adopt, you get stuck on something, you need help.
Mhm.
I'm here for you. I'll hop on a call with you and work with you. We
Okay.
have a great support team that'll answer your emails and calls in minutes.
Okay.
And so you're going to have superior service on top of a really good program for your students that's going to help them to increase their comprehension and retention before class. So
Okay.
I just want to let you know that you're going to have extra help because it is a
Okay,
new
yeah.
program and we're here to support you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And by the
Okay.
way, the evaluation book can be added as long as we like added as like the resources I look at, like the Power BI. If I need to look into Power BI as well. So do you mind to open that book as an evaluation book for me as well?
I think that's handled by a different department, but I will email them and have them add it to your
The evaluation.
section. Yeah, because it's even a person different. I don't know why they separated it, but they did. I think because it's normally in a different course. So, but I will make
Okay.
sure that it gets done. I'll email them. I know who to email. So,
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Great. Okay.
All right. Have a great semester, Ping and Dee.
Okay.
Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ben.
Thank you,
nice to meet you
Tamara.
both.
Bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
You too.
You too.